is Jouelzy. It is Friday evening. Hopefully I can actually get this up tonight. If you're watching this on Saturday, this series will be going up on Friday around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's an hour behind Eastern Standard Time for those of you who are unaware of the time zones of the United States of America. I'm starting something new, and I've been meaning to do this for a while, but it's just taken me a little bit of getting acclimated to my new surroundings in Houston, and I'm finally there. So, welcome to Pop Snark. This is for all my smart brown girls who like to revel in the educated ratchet things that allow themselves to actually enjoy some lowbrow while still being highbrow and still loving everything in between there. So you don't have to guilt trip yourself for watching Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood, even though I don't even watch that ish, or doing all of Olivia Pope's hubris as a woman who likes to drop it low and spread it wide for married men. So what we're going to do to get into this, I'm going to try to keep it short, quick, is we're going to crack open for all of those over the age of 21 a glass of wine. Because you know I enjoy my wine. We are going to sip it up. While today I'm having some Hobo Cabernet Sauvignon. Hobo Cab, because I don't know how to pronounce the last end of Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon, girl, we getting there, but we not there yet. I am not that big of a cab drinker, but this is the bottle of wine that my homegirl Jessica blessed me with after my Smart Brown Girl's very successful Sip Wit and Chat in Brooklyn that I do hope to be bringing across the country in 2015. We'll get to that later about the whole touring thing, but this is a great segue into the first topic. Is yes, this past weekend, I hosted a Sip Wit and Chat with 4 fabulous women, Jovi and Arena Teach for America, Zoe Ziegler of ColorCom. For all you publicists out there, definitely check out ColorCom, Janelle P. Hazelwood of Black Enterprise, and Kimberly Foster at forharriet.com, where we discuss vulnerability in the strong black woman archetype. And the whole point of the conversation was to discuss how vulnerability has actually benefited us in our career paths, and that you should embrace that feeling of uncertainty, that feeling of it's okay to not always have everything together and not always be at the top of the game. And sometimes you just like to be comfortable where you're at right now, and that you can take a break and enjoy the moment with always having to carry the world on your back. And that is basically what we discussed. We did a Q&A. We got a ton of questions, largely around people not having confidence in their day-to-day life, whether it's a situation at work or whether they feel like when they walk into the room, everyone is hating on them. And all the women gave great advice. Kimberly Foster talked about how when her father passed away, that's when she started For Harriet. So her lowest moment came at one of her greatest opportunities, and that was really touching. Jovian offered great tips about how to analyze if a situation at work is really something that you need to address, if you have thought about the culture of your office, how everyone else goes about your office, if that's really a place that you need to stay at, if maybe you shouldn't look at other opportunities, especially if you're at a senior level in your job and you feel like you're still not getting the respect that you deserve. And she's definitely worth checking out because she does provide coaching and counseling for women that are looking to get into leadership positions. Janelle P. Hazelwood talked about owning where you are at in life, utilizing your potential to turn it into financial success. Zoe Ziegler opened up with a really good point talking about how as black women, we don't always need to strive to reach our next goal immediately after clinking one off. Sometimes, as I said earlier, which came from what Zoe Ziegler was saying at my panel, is that you should enjoy the moment that you're at. Enjoy the level of success that you have reached right in this moment. Pat yourself on the back and allow yourself to kind of coast along for a little while in something that you're good at without feeling like you immediately have to pack on the next role. You'll get there. You have a lifetime to enjoy life. Cheers. Clink, 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 clink. That is pretty tasty. Do you like my earpiece? It's from Jouelzy. I don't know why I ordered this, but I did. If you're interested, I'll put a link down below and in the description box, which you should be reading anyway. So let's get into some of the pop culture things that have been happening on this week. Obviously, I am so late to the game, but TGIT, which is thank God, is Thursday. Shonda Rhimes now owns all our edges and our cable programming. I am just superfluously happy to see black women, women of color, smart brown girls waltz across my TV screen on prime time, prime cable that everyone has to have, not just on HBO specials talking about our hair. Scandal for me personally is getting off to I don't know, I'm not quite sure what's going on here start, but I'm gonna let it rock. I am super happy that Olivia and Fitz are no longer bumping uglies because I was just entirely over that relationship. I am all the way Team Melly, and I am super happy that they are actually talking about grieving, which is something that Kimberly Foster did note on the panel of my Smart Brown Girl event, is that we don't really talk much about the grieving process and how a lot of us do go about grieving, or even having that moment to be allowed to grieve, and the psychological impact that that has on life, and that a lot of us do want to take a break. We do want to stop. We do take a while to get over it, and it's completely okay. And so I actually think Shonda Rhimes is doing a great thing with the storyline of Melly's character going through a depression, or whatever it is you want to term it as she grieves for the loss of her son. Last episode, Jake got a little too big for his britches and thought that he could come for Daddy Pope and tell him that he needed to remove himself from Washington, D.C. and never come back. But what my homeboy Jake forgot is that Daddy Pope, Joel Morton, is the only one on Scandal who was allowed to have soliloquies. So you need to fall back and have several, sir. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Daddy Pope ain't going nowhere, boo-boo. How to Get Away with Murder is the new Shonda Rhimes production that airs right after Scandal. It's actually not written by Shonda. It's just her production house did pick it up to produce it and put it onto ABC. But it's great. It's written by Peter Nowak. I hope I pronounced his last name right. Excuse me if I didn't. Featuring Viola Davis as Professor Annalise Keating, a professor at Middleton University set somewhere in the Philadelphia area of Pennsylvania. And she is a law professor and a criminal defense attorney. And she is shady boots, girl. Shady, shady, shady boots. I know that Viola has talked about having alopecia. Bless her heart, her eyebrows, and her hairline, boo-boo. I will pray for you and rub some castor oil on my temples and hope it'll exude out to you. It's a really, really serious issue to go through. And I know as women, losing our hair is a big deal. So I do not want to undermine that, but girl, that wig game on Viola is really my biggest complaint about the show. We just want Viola to get an extra comb in the back, hold that ish down, and make sure the lace in the front is laid right, girl. Y'all be coming for me when my parts ain't right. CC my last Wig Wednesday video. I agree. It's okay. So it's okay to talk about Viola needing to get that wig game together, but otherwise I am super happy for another dominant smart brown girl to waltz across my TV screen again in a thriller of a series. Even though this last episode, and I am trying to recap it, I've recapped episode 1. I will get to 2 and 3 this weekend, definitely. It's just a very heavy show. There's a lot of moving pieces in order to try and recap this. There's too many Scandal recaps for me to try to recap that. But How to Get Away with Murder, it is a thriller. I am interested in seeing how this goes out. It's an ensemble cast. Annalise Keating is married to a white professor of psychology. I think his name is Sam Keating, whatever. Professor Keating, he is a white male. They are married. It's another great thing to see on my TV screen because I don't think it's often shown. Then Annalise has 4 star students. Is it 4 or 5? I believe it's 4. And their dynamic is very, very interesting. Wes, who is a black boy that apparently was on Harry Potter. I don't read or watch Harry Potter. But Wes is just dumb as far as I'm concerned. Like, is he Captain Save-A-Ho or nah? What's up with his hairline? What's up with his lack of shape up? I'm just confused at Wes's entire demeanor and his lack of being able to like kind of hold his own. He's a poor little lost boy that ain't found his way to a shape up or understanding that Captain Save-A-Ho gets you nowhere in life. So it's interesting to see his relationship with his neighbor upstairs, who was just arrested this past episode for the murder of Leela, and who also left Leela's phone, the dead girl, in Wes's apartment. How that entire relationship is going to pan out, I don't know. I really can't say too much about the series thus far, other than I am captivated, though I do think episode 3 relied a little too heavily on cliches with the black girl whose name I can't remember. Oh, bless me, I'm so sorry. With her fiance showing up, and it turns out that they allowed Tyler Perry to write a few scenes in this last episode because the one other black male that pop up on the show is suddenly, well, he's not really on the DO, but he bumped booties with another one of the law students in her class. And homeboy has no chill. The gay boy, no chill. Like, none. I don't know. It does kind of create an interesting discussion around if you were with a man who at one point explored his sexuality or had a one-off encounter, how would you be able to go about it? Because in this episode, homegirl really was more concerned with her Vera Wang bespoke wedding dress rather than the psychological impact that this would have on her relationship. I don't get it. I don't know if I would be able to deal, especially when your no-chill classmate is like, I remember how his dick feels. Like, seriously? Seriously? Ooh, I don't, wouldn't be me not at least sitting there and holding it together, because I would have yanked. He would have got in that moment. Fuck a courtroom. Also, worth noting is Blackish, which is a great family series that comes on Wednesday night on ABC. The first episode was a little hard in the cliche stereotypes paint, and I'm definitely never, not ever, I can't really stand Anthony Anderson. He's just not funny to me. But Tracee Ellis Ross gives me all my life. Lawrence Fishburne as the grandfather is effing hilarious, and my favorite character of all is the precociously snarky and witty Diane. On the show, Anthony Anderson portrays Andre Johnson, who is an advertising exec. They are an upper middle class family who he is married to a biracial woman named Rainbow, who's portrayed by Tracee Ellis Ross. His grandfather is portrayed by Lawrence Fishburne. They have two older kids, a girl and a boy, Dre Jr., and I forget the little other girl's name. And then they have twins, fraternal twins, a boy and a girl, and the girl, Diane, is hilarious. The last episode where they were talking about the nod that you give to other black people when you see them down the hallway, I don't know if I really do that or not, whatever. Diane had a big role in that storyline, and I absolutely got all of my life. She is super adorable and hilarious. She's my cup of smart brown girl. I am here for it. Do you guys watch it? I have written, definitely wrote up my opinion about supporting Blackish and how to critique black television. You can find all that down below in the description box on Jouelzy.com. So on Jouelzy.com, I wrote an essay, 1,500 words, girl, staying on my computer all last night, about Raven-Symoné and her interview with Oprah on Where Are They Now, which came on this past Saturday on OWN TV, where Raven-Symoné, even when Oprah tried to stop her, explain how she does not like to label herself. So she does not label herself as gay, bisexual, whatever, nor does she like the label of African American. And I didn't really understand what her point was with regards to the African American part, because she proceeded to say that she connects to Black, Asian, and all these other cultures, which essentially is labels of other cultures, but that she just wants to be called human. Human. And she just wants to be called human. And Oprah said, girl, you are going to start a Twitter firestorm. And she continued in trying to explain herself. And to be quite honest, I really didn't get it. And I explained in a rather precise way why I didn't get it. So you can read that article down below. But to get into it briefly right here, what I was reminded of when I watched that interview was Rich Jouelzy, people whose last names I cannot pronounce, is a writer for Gawker.com. He had recently wrote an article about Sam Smith, the famous singer, who also chooses not to be identified as gay, although he is a man in a committed relationship with another man. And Rich talked about how harmful that is to the gay community, major personalities and celebrities trying to part themselves away from labels because they don't want to be associated with the negative connotations that come with said labels, and really that all it's doing is pacifying the mainstream so that you become more acceptable while disowning your own people who most relate to you. And I think that was kind of the fullness of his article. I didn't all the way agree with Rich, but it did kind of make me think about when people say they're so against labels. Like, well, why are you against this label? Because what I've never heard is a white person say that they're against being white or being American. Like, they just want to be human. And Raven, in her sentiment of not wanting to be labeled, said she's American, which again is a label, and she's human, which again is a label. Like, there's just no way to get around labels. So why push away from the label of African American? I don't get it. And I explain this in my thing because largely to me, people do not exhibit prejudice or racism or segregation to me because of the title that I behold as an African American. It's all about their perception of the physical characteristics of what I am. Even if you call me human, people are still going to look at me. Before you called me African American, they called me Negro and colored and black and whatever. I like the term African American because I think it embodies the culture in which I come from. And I do firmly believe that African Americans, those who are the descendants of slaves in America, do behold the culture. There are different facets and divisions of that culture, but we do hold it, and it is deeply rooted into the American community. And I think we have every right to label it and celebrate it. But removing it is not going to remove racism, segregation, prejudice. It's not going to stop what happened in Ferguson. It's not going to stop the Jordan Dunns, the Trayvon Martins, and the Renisha McBrides from losing their lives over petty bullshit. But It just allows for me to quantify something and celebrate it. And I posted this article on Facebook, and it really is interesting to the handful of you who don't like to be quantified, or who don't believe that you have a culture, or like to remove yourself from something. Because I'm just wondering, like, what food do you enjoy? I feel like black people in America who do not want to be identified as African American are the black people who go to restaurants, regardless of the ethnicity of the restaurant, are always trying to order a Caesar salad because they're just American. Speaking of, I definitely went on a date with a guy at Blue Ribbon, which is a pretty nice restaurant in New York City. Homeboy drove a Maserati. Mind you, the Blue Ribbon we went to was a seafood one. A whole menu full of seafood. A whole menu, seafood, steak, fine dining. And my dude said, can you give me some chicken tenders and fries? I just want some regular food. What I don't get is all of you. Like, who wants to go eat at a regular American restaurant? You know what American food is? It's bar food. It's hamburgers and chicken fingers and hush puppies and french fries. And that's fun to eat on an occasion, but I really, really love me some black eyed peas with ham hocks and collard greens and mac and cheese and sweet potatoes cooked the right way. I also love to enjoy and celebrate the cultures of others. I am the person that will go to Hillcroft just to get my eyebrows threaded and get me some chicken biryani at the same damn time. I will drive all the way out to Alif and go get me some Vietnamese banh mi because I love the celebration of culture. I strive to be the smart brown girl version of Anthony Bourdain, who has made an entire career around celebrating the cultures of the world and labels them all because that's easy. It's easy to say, I want to go to an Indian restaurant. I don't want to go to a human being from the country of India's restaurant. That's too many words and it's too silly. You're never, ever, ever in life going to get away from labels. But I do think that what Raven was really trying to get at is the fact that she does not want to have to be responsible for always being expected to speak on topics when she sometimes just really doesn't give a fuck. Or that she would like to get a role that isn't beholden to her being urban or sassy or ghetto, Cece the girlfriend intervention, but acknowledge that her story is the same as others regardless of the cultural backgrounding that she's coming from. I think the way that we address that is by addressing it face on versus trying to avoid the labels that we feel others place on us. No, it's not just labels that others place on us. And I get how in America, this gets a little tricky because African American, the term sits in a lot of gray. That's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. And I really don't feel like having you guys try to rewrite American history. Just read my article and leave a comment on there and we can discuss it over there. But yes, that happened this week. But y'all know I don't agree. I'm a smart brown girl. You can read it on there. Then Malayla Yousafzai, a Pakistani teen who was shot in the face by the Taliban for pursuing an education as a young smart brown girl in Pakistan. And yes, this is exactly why I named the smart brown girl on purpose. We'll get to that in another video though. But she was shot in the face by Taliban militants in her home country, and rather than shrouding back and hiding, she decided to take a stance and speak forth for all the young girls who are under persecution simply for pursuing something that is their basic right, to pursue an education. And she was awarded this year at 17 a Nobel Peace Prize. She is the youngest person to ever receive a Nobel Peace Prize. And if you have never in your life looked up a Malayla video and heard her speak, she is a young woman of great wisdom, and it's definitely worth hearing her speak. And I think what is very interesting in her speech that she gave today was that she said she did not wait. She chose to be the voice and speak up. She did not wait on someone else to speak up for us. And I think what has happened in America in the summer of 2014 that oftentimes has us thinking back like, wait, what year are we in? Did we regress to 1967? And waiting for who is going to be the voice of the young African Americans or the young black community, or however you want to label it today. Who is going to be the voice of civil rights? Who is going to be our forthcoming civil leaders? Al Sharpton is not doing it. Don Lemon definitely ain't it. And really, it would be good to see people who are on our level and look like us. And I think it's very important that after being shot in the face with limited resources, Malayla chose to speak up without waiting on anyone else. And so next time you go to ask who's going to be the next civil leader, why don't you just take it upon yourself to get up and lead, get up and take a voice, and maybe everything will fall into place and you will find other people of like mind that you can band together, and maybe the cream will rise to the top, and however will work. But I think we are in a generation where we all should have a say, where we all should speak up about our rights, and it's not just about one person taking the lead for us or one person directing our thoughts. we can be the purveyors of our own destiny. And so we hold a responsibility to be the voice of our generation, all of us collectively. And I know that I have not really had a chance to speak on this YouTube channel. I have talked about it on Facebook and my other social media outlets, but I was in the midst of traveling and moving across the country when the whole Ferguson things went down. I feel like you guys will already know where I stand on it. Where the fuck is Darren Wilson? It's October. This shit is crazy. How did we get to 2014 like this? There is just no, I don't even think it's worth having a long drawn out discussion. This ish is crazy. Like, this is a big transgression of somebody's basic civil and human rights. And it's just, I just don't feel good about how it's gonna span out. I feel like we're only gonna get madder and we're only gonna be more disappointed. And if anything, I really do hope that this incites all of you out here to vote during your county and your district and your local elections, because I think what has been very unfair to the President Barack Obama is that we all came out in droves to elect him as president and disappeared when our state elections happened. And so we put him with a Congress and a Senate that is not in his favor and is constantly fighting against him. And I think when you look at the Missouri government, even though it is a Democratic governor, when you look at the Ferguson local county government, the local city government, they have gone out of their way to disavow Mike Brown and his family of his basic human rights. And these are people who we elected into office simply by not casting our ballots. So I think it is very important to be aware of who actually controls what in the political scene of your environment and to be more involved in the politics of your local government. Any other topics that I am missing? I'm trying to keep this concise. We might be at 15 minutes here. Sorry about the sound. My mic died in between here and I did not realize. But let me know in the comments down below what you would like me to talk about. Hashtag PopSnark. You can tweet it to me. It's the best way to let me know. I'm always on Twitter talking my ish. Are there any shows that I should be watching? Please remember that I don't have cable, but Chromecast is giving me all my life. Might allow me to watch these programmings with you because Comcast ain't shit and I'm not going to give them a drop of my money. As always, hashtag Smartbrowngirls t-shirts are coming soon. I got a draft of them today. I've been working on it, guys. I've been working on it. Deuces.